Welcome to Into Deep Tarot. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to be doing a message from spirit guides, divine messages from your spirit guides. Before I get into that, if you are interested in a personal reading, that information is in the description box. If you are interested in my free reading giveaway, if you donate to the channel, your name will be entered into a raffle and you can enter to win that. I'll be choosing someone at the end of the month. And please be sure, if you would like, to like, subscribe, and share. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all the growth that I've had on this channel. Let's get into the messages. Divine messages from whoever will view this or come in contact with this video. What are they allowed to know or need to know? What messages do they need to see? Uh-oh, something's trying to come out. Here we go. First card we have is 10th house, authority. Let's see if any more need to come out. Any divine messages for whoever this comes in contact with this video. Okay. Jupiter, abundance. What a beautiful sign. All right. So we have 10th house, authority, and we have abundance. Jupiter energy. I feel like this is talking about grabbing a hold on the things that you can control. Those things will bring forth some sort of abundance in your life. At the bottom of the deck, we have nurture. I think this is Ceres. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that, but I feel like that might be relevant to someone or to some of you. Let's read 10th house. 10th house, authority. If your chart were a village map, the 10th house would hold the courthouse, government, seat, and public face of your work. Here is the arena for your most public self, your relationships to authority figures, and your role as a leader. Action. You have been asked to step up and take action of a personal authority. It's hard to build something without a clear blueprint. So look at your definition of a strong leader and decide whether you need to amend it. Remember how you felt as a kid about your parents, school principal, priests, police, and teachers, or observe whether they use their responsibility wisely and encourage you to develop yours, or whether you need to rebel to be safe. Notice your relationship to the concept of divine authority and investigate it. If it was something to be feared, ignored, or expanded, did it offer you safety or refuge? These patterns affect both how you react to outside authority and what you expect from yourself as a parent, professional, or leader. Sort between the traits that worked and those not worth emulating. Deconstruct assumptions about authority that no longer serve you. Authority is no longer what people carry. It is what you are developing within. Take responsibility for healing old wounds around empowerment and create new blueprints. If needed, tell someone who abused their authority, either in person, in therapy, or a letter you burn and release. Get the training and the certification you need. Create a mental collage of good role models, people who lead in a way that empowers others. So this is a heavier card than I actually realized, but I feel like it's something that's needed for the collective, myself included. I feel like authority. Do you have a healthy relationship with authority, or do you rebel just because you just can't bear to have anyone tell you what to do? Sometimes people do abuse their power. It could have been in relationships, your childhood, relationships at work, friendships. This is a card that is screaming out that you need to have some boundaries, and you need to also be in a place where you have strengthened your intuition enough to know what is something that you should take as good advice, and also something where you can use your discernment a bit and try to figure out whether this is something that you can just say, you know what, that person was being abusive of their power. And I think this will also evoke feelings of who you, me, or whoever this resonates with. Who do you need to release and forgive? This is also a card about forgiveness as well, I believe. It also says, let's see. Challenge. A bully is a parody of true leadership. Be careful not to mistake power over other people as equal to empowerment within. The gift with this 10th house energy is whether you are in your evolution, it's time to take the next step up the mountain of leadership, empowerment, and accomplishment. And there's a mountain in the picture if you can see it. The mountains in tarot signify that there's some obstacles and challenges. So this is not something to be taken lightly, or that it's something that can be fixed or attacked in one try. This is actually something that is going to need much practicing. Who are those people who you felt like you looked up to, that were good leaders that you didn't listen to and you should have taken their advice? And who are some of those people who have abused their power and just made you feel small? I think this is also something where we need to take into account our boundaries. And if we don't feel comfortable doing something, I think that we need to explore that and honor those feelings in which we don't feel like we want to do something. It's a fine balance, and I think that it's definitely something that needs to be exercised and worked on. Here's right here, I have a piece of clear quartz, and it's something that they say that it really does help strengthen your intuition. If you don't have a piece, I suggest you maybe ordering a piece online. It's clear quartz, and or you can go to like a crystal shop in your neighborhood or something like that. Jupiter. This card is talking about abundance, and it has pumpkins and all sorts of harvests and crops. Let's see what this energy is talking about. Jupiter talks about abundance, and it symbolizes how we can expand our world through education, law, philosophy, travel, abundance, and expansive spirit. In order to have a healthy relationship with abundance, you have to have your worthiness in check. By the way, I don't know why I felt I needed to say that, but here we go. Jupiter, the traditional ruler of Sagittarius and Pisces, is a huge gas giant, 2.5 times the volume of all the other planets put together. That's crazy just to think about how big Jupiter is. That means all the planets put together, it's still 2.5 times bigger than that. It takes roughly 12 years to circle the zodiac, spending roughly 1 year in each sign. Remember, for the ruler of all the gods and the surrounded by 79 known moons, wow, Jupiter never does anything in small proportions. Action, think bigger. The scenario requires you to be expansive and forgiving. Deal with it in a spacious, curious, fair, and philosophical way. Think globally. Bring in contributions from all around the world. Consider traveling physically and traveling with your senses by listening to the music from a less familiar culture and tasting their food. This is about expansion. Expansion in all ways. Expanding your mind, expanding your outlook, expanding your surroundings by traveling, expanding on what you feel like you deserve. Thinking bigger, on a bigger scale. This is urging people to talk to different people in different circumstances in foreign lands, and also to be generous about giving and receiving in a big, abundant way. The challenge with this says Jupiter can bring too much of a good thing and leave people feeling overwhelmed. Watch out for magical thinking and the Pollyanna avoidance of problems. So when things get too big too, there's a challenge here. When things get too big, don't think, that's too big for me to handle. I think that this is also a card that's talking about balance, and it's crazy because We're coming into that Libra balance energy in a couple days. And I think it's on the 23rd, and it's crazy that this is the number 23. Before we get into that Libra season, I feel like we are being guided to get into that balance energy before it even comes. The gift of it all says, give and you shall receive. Jupiter calls you to expand your world view. So reach out and feel at one with the whole universe. It's telling you to expand on all levels, whether you've been thinking on a smaller scale when it comes to maybe some business ideas. It's this energy is calling you to go bigger and dig deeper. Let's see what other advice we have. Let me see. I think I'm going to get an alchemy card. I'm going to get an alchemy card from the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck. Oop, here we go. Messages, divine messages. Nebula, fog. Let's read what this has to say. I'm going to read it from the book because these two decks are very new to me. And I want to make sure, I just feel like whenever I read from the book, there's like really good divine messages, and it's very detailed, and I just love Kim Kranz. It says, Nebula, fog. When the fog is thick, reach out to a dear friend or mentor. It's important to get oriented and feel seen when you're within the alchemical stew. The automatic response of, I'm fine, is fog personified into speech. Notice when you're saying it. See if it's possible to allow a little color and clarity in. Disorientation, a funk, a lull. When fog is present, nothing is clear, not even the problem. It's hard to orient oneself or to know where you're headed. A distinctly damp mood blankets the laboratory. Fog can be surprisingly pleasant as a counter to drama, and therefore it can lull us to sleep for long periods of time. With its cooling nature, fog is a natural balm for pain and trauma. Yet this state cannot sustain us, for we long to see the horizon in our surroundings. There are two solutions. The first is heat. Think sweating, desire, confrontation, passion, creativity. If that's too edgy, the second is an inevitable solution, is time. As they say, the morning fog burns off by noon. The sun will be seen again. How much time you spend in the fog is yet to be determined. Go deeper, listen to A Foggy Day performed by Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. To ponder, cooling the mind. This is air energy. Thinking too much, thinking and thoughts not being clear enough. This fog energy is asking us to get very clear about some things, not to hide and not to get lost in the fog. I feel like it's an action card to make sure that we are not being so passive. Sometimes you can be so in your head with this air energy, and it's also water energy too. If you think about it, you can get so far deep in your emotions that you're in your head, and now you're in this place where there's no action. You're just emotional and overthinking. This card is asking to push yourself toward some sort of clarity. Think yourself through logically and not thinking over emotionally and kind of hiding behind this fog. I feel like a lot of us have just been kind of hiding behind a lot lately. I feel like this retrograde is going to help us to think our way to clarity, thinking our way to abundance, us grabbing onto the authority of bringing ourselves to our goals. Let me get some tarot to close this out. Divine messages to close out this reading. Yeah, wow. Tower energy. if you can see this there's some fog in this card as well. I think a lot of us, either if you haven't already, have done some self-sabotaging. Bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Knives, but I feel like we are going to be receiving some redirection if we haven't already. A lot of people have undergone a lot of purging. A lot of people have lost their jobs. Friendships have melted away. Relationships have melted away. Or you've been given an opportunity of clarity to see that some of the relationships and things that we have immersed ourselves in and glued ourselves to is now kind of fading away and falling away from us. This is that divine tower energy where, you know, no matter how much free will we have, we are on some level redirected to our path, especially if we ask for it, especially if we need to go a certain way for certain things to come to fruition in our lives. So don't be afraid or, you know, discouraged if you feel like you're being redirected by being fired from a job or being in a relationship that you've been in for a long time and it's falling away. That's that fog clearing. That's that authority coming through, going up those mountains, going up some of those challenging times so that, you know, all that fog can clear. Once the fog clears and you have that redirection, the abundance can come in. It's hard for the abundance to come in if, you know, you're still clouded energetically and not around the same people or not in alignment with what your true goals are. So I hope that helps. Please like and share and also subscribe if you will. And again, if you are looking for a personal reading, that information is down below. I appreciate your support and I'll talk to you soon.